My friends, good morning. I am a teacher of teachers, and I've seen a lot of teachers in the social media space that are commenting on Charlie Kirk. I've also seen a lot of teachers who are frustrated. They feel like they can't comment on Charlie Kirk. And I think now is a good time to talk through three aspects of this: the civil, the practical, and the political. And I'll start with the civil. So I'm obviously a big fan of civility. That's kind of my shtick. That's what I do. And here's what I want to say. One of the best ethics lessons I ever got was from a professor who taught ethics. And he said, the legal bar is way down here, right? What is legal? That's a really low bar. What is ethical is like up here. It's like a medium bar, right? And then you've got like what is good and decent and kind and all of that stuff up above. And he pointed out that when we talk in society, we always immediately start with what's legal because we need to have good rules, and that makes sense. But then we leave the conversation there and we never ask, can I aim a little higher? So the first thing I want to say, and this is for all of us, but especially teachers, is that we should be aiming for being the best people that we can be. It should not be, let me maximize my most possible odious speech that is still legal. That's the wrong way to conceive of it. The way to conceive of it is, am I trying to build something better? Am I trying to say something meaningful? And a good rule of thumb for this is, am I saying something that requires self-restraint, self-regulation, careful thought? I'm putting some effort into this. Or am I using social media as my proverbial punching bag, right? There's a great study on punching pillows. Turns out not good for you. It doesn't make you better. Might make things a little bit worse, but definitely doesn't help you. And now imagine that we have a communal one where we all go out and just say the thing, and we have no self-restraint, and we just kind of burn things down. That's social media, and I don't think it's good for us. It's this weird co-rumination space where we complain and get frustrated, get angry, and I don't think that's good. And so as a teacher, here's my rule of thumb. Ask yourself, am I saying something that needs saying? Am I saying something that builds? Am I saying something that will make the world a little bit better? And I think there's ways to do that. By the way, on that topic, I should note that there are a lot of really good people out there who are looking for teachers to step up. Because teachers have this unifying thing. I saw a teacher the other day post something, and I thought to myself, man, I hope you realize how many people look to you as a pillar in the community because of your role as a beloved teacher. And I think that's a role that we can play if we decide to meet it. So that's the civil. Don't look for maximum odious possible legal posts. Instead, ask yourself, what's the best thing I can say today that makes the biggest difference? Number two, let's get to the practical. If you are having some self-restraint, if you are trying to be cautious and careful, do I advise you to wade into the waters on Charlie Kirk? The short answer is, if you are used to wading into all the waters, I would step back. If you're one who just posts before you think, I think now is a really good time to keep quiet. And it's not because your ideas are bad. It's not because you're a bad person. It's because self-restraint is important. And I want to emphasize this. Every school district I know of has some kind of a provision where even if you're tenured, even if you have job protections, where it will say something like, if a teacher is not able to focus on the job because a statement of theirs or an aspect of their personal life has become media intensive, right? If the media is focused on a part of who you are, then in such a way that you can't do your job, we have the right to terminate that teacher. And so I just want to emphasize this idea of free speech. Yeah, we have freedom of speech. I love freedom of speech. I think we should have a culture of freedom of speech. Freedom of speech means the government can't put you in jail, harass you, and fine you for the things you say. It does not mean that your private employer, and that includes school districts, can do likewise. And so if you become a target of a lot of media attention because something that you say goes viral, that's going to be a problem. So here's my pro tip for teachers that are out there. When I put up memes when I was in schools, I would always ask myself, do I think it's funny? Do I think it's clean? Would my peers, my other colleagues, would they think it's clean? Would they think it's funny? Would my principal think it's clean? And would my principal think it's funny? And now here's the fourth and most important one. Would the craziest parent in my school think that this is both clean, appropriate, and funny? And if the answer to any of those is no, then you just don't put it. And yeah, my memes weren't as funny. I didn't get to be as edgy. But you know what? I got through. And I didn't get many misunderstandings in my memes. And that's an okay price to pay for the really cool gift that it is to work with kids. So I feel pretty good about that. So that's my advice. That's the practical. Now let's get to the political. Should teachers be getting fired? Let me start by saying I'm not a big fan of turning our culture into, let's go out and fire all the people that we disagree with. And if that starts happening, I am really concerned. But that's not, in my opinion, the only thing going on. In fact, I think that's kind of the exception rather than the rule. The rule is there are some people out there that are saying some pretty awful things. And I think dancing on graves is not a good look for teachers. And let me give you, again, my rule of thumb. If I see a teacher post something that makes me go, ooh, I don't know if I would want my kid in that class. I don't know how I'd feel about having my child in that class. Then I'm going to go ahead and say, don't post it. And it is good and right for school districts to have conversations with teachers about whether we should be posting things like that. I don't like cancel culture. I don't like it for anybody. And by the way, I think there's a difference between cancel culture on the left and the right, and it's all messy, and we can get into that another time. But for right now, let me keep it really simple. You are almost certainly going to have, I've worked in some very, very polarized areas of the country, areas where almost everybody's a Democrat, areas where almost everybody is pro-Trump. And in all of those areas, I have yet to have a truly politically homogenous group. There were students in those groups from both sides of the political aisle. And if I come out strong saying, I think this crazy thing or this intense thing about Charlie Kirk, some of my kids are not going to feel welcome in that class, and that's not okay. And so on a practical basis, should people be getting fired? Well, it depends on what they said. Right now you have this narrative that it's like, let's go fire all the bad teachers. Or you have, that's on the right. Or on the left, you have, can you believe they're coming for teachers? All they did was speak up about Charlie Kirk and now they're getting fired. Well, if you look at their comments, some of them are really ugly. And if you look at others, they're not that ugly at all. They're fine. And we're just all angry and dumb right now. So first of all, don't say things in a context when people are angry and dumb. Maybe give it a week and just think through it carefully. But then the second thing I would say is, as a teacher, be wise, be kind, uplift, do what you can, but recognize that there is something in between fire all the teachers and, oh my gosh, they're coming for our rights. And that in between is some people are saying odious things and should probably have a professional consequence. Some people are saying respectable opinions that are kind of in between. And where do we want to land? And that takes us back to our first post, or my first comment in this post, which is say thoughtful things. Say things that build. Say things that make the world a little bit better.